Hello, and thank you for joining us. Today, as we stand on the threshold of summer, we find ourselves in a season of both, remembrance and renewal. Memorial Day is just around the corner, a time when our nation pauses in solemn gratitude. We remember the men and women who served and sacrificed to protect the freedoms we hold dear. This sacred holiday, along with the upcoming anniversaries of our nation's founding and the birth of the U.S. Army, reminds us not only of our past, but our responsibility to honor that legacy through action. In this season of remembrance, even in simple terms, a little gesture, a sincere thank you, carries deep meaning. It's not just an expression of appreciation. It's a recognition of duty fulfilled and lives given in service to something greater than self. At the same time, this weekend also marks what many consider the unofficial beginning of summer, a time for celebration. Graduates walk across stages and into new chapters of life. Families gather, school boards, they finalize on their summer calendars. It's also a time when local governments enter into kind of a quiet rhythm for the summer. But within that stillness lies an opportunity, one we can't afford to overlook. Because now is the time to reflect, yes. But more importantly, perhaps, now is a time to rebuild. In the pause between spring's activity and fall's acceleration, we have a moment, a window, to realign our priorities and commit to what matters most. Trust in one another, confidence in public service, and meaningful, informed participation in our communities. This is more than reflection, it's an invitation. We have a plan, and we want you to be part of it. This summer, let's be intentional. Let's listen, let's learn, and let's lead. Let's make this summer count, not just as a season, but as a turning point. Let me tell you what that turning point can look like. Let's talk about housing. Let's talk about Janesville. Our city is growing, but our housing stock isn't keeping pace. Across Janesville, young families, first-time buyers, seniors, essential workers are all facing the same story. High prices, limited options, and growing frustrations. For too many, the dream of stable, affordable housing is slipping out of reach. This isn't just a housing supply issue. It's about process. It's about trust. And ultimately, it's about leadership. We don't need another workshop. We don't need another report gathering dust on a shelf. What we need is a civic breakthrough. A new model for community-driven problem solving. What we need is a Janesville Housing Policy Summit. And the time is now. Why now? Because without a shared community-led policy vision, we risk deepening the very divisions that need to heal. We risk losing residents, alienating developers, and leaving vulnerable families behind. We're calling on the Janesville City Council, City Manager Kevin Lehner, and Forward Janesville to co-sponsor this summit. A citizen-led process to co-create smart, fair, and forward-thinking housing solutions rooted in our shared values. This isn't hypothetical. Deliberative democracy works. Cities like Minneapolis, Seattle, and Austin are already doing it. They're bringing people together, diverse in background, united by purpose, to tackle tough issues through inclusive, informed public dialogue. Janesville can lead Wisconsin in doing the same. So, what would this public policy summit look like? First, let's start with the steering committee, a partnership between City Hall, Forward Janesville, and community members. That means developers, tenants, tenant advocates, neighborhood leaders, everyday residents, all of us at the table. Second, we convene a representative panel of residents selected through civic lotteries or demographic sampling. This ensures that people of all incomes, ages, and walks of life are heard. And to remove barriers, we could provide child care and translation services and transportation. Third, we equip participants with clear, neutral background materials, plain language primers, visual guides. We add expert presentations. That way everybody walks in with the same information. Everybody has a voice. Fourth, we hold the summit itself, a series of sessions over a weekend or multiple evenings where participants, they can share lived experiences. They can learn together, deliberate on policy options like zoning reform, accessory dwelling units, mixed income incentives, and they can vote on priorities. And finally, we close the loop with transparent follow-up. A report delivered to City Council, followed by a public response. What will be implemented? What needs more work, and why? This loop, from community input to policymaker response to public accountability, is how we rebuild trust in government. And it's how we create housing policy that actually works for all of us. But this requires something more. It requires leadership. So today we're asking our elected officials and civic institutions to act. First, publicly support the Janesville Housing Policy Summit. Second, partner with nonprofits and Forward Janesville to fund and to organize it. Third, dedicate city staff to logistics, outreach, and communications. And fourth, lead by example, welcoming, not fearing public input. This is not about politics. It's about purpose. So here's the invitation. To Janesville residents, your voice matters. Attend forums, fill out surveys, show up. To nonprofits, help bring underrepresented voices to the table. Be part of the bridge between communities and decision makers. To Forward Janesville, you've done some valuable work. Well, let's go farther. Let's move from data to democracy. Let's lead Wisconsin by example. Let's show that Janesville doesn't just study problems. We solve them, and we do it together. Now, here's where we stand today. At this week's Janesville City Council meeting, members will discuss updates to Policy 88, which governs council conduct. And in this policy, it also includes proposed limits on remote attendance. It'll be an interesting debate. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, negotiations continue on the possible acquisition of the former General Motors plant area, a move that will possibly reshape our city's economic and housing landscape. And across the region, civic institutions are reaching decision points. In Beloit, the school board faces a budget crisis. Superintendent Willie Garrison has proposed staff cuts to close to $6.2 million to close a budget deficit. Cuts that, frankly, have been rejected now twice by that board. There is no balanced budget yet. The June deadline looms. In Milton, school board leadership transitions are underway. And at the county level, the future of the former Rock County Health Care Center, once a hospital, now vacant, is under review. with unspent ARPA money, you got some money still on the table. It could become a transformative housing project site if we act. So much is happening, and frankly, so much more is possible. I'm pleased to announce that beginning on Friday, June the 6th, our program, News That You Can Use in Your Community, is going to become a regular feature on WCLO, your morning talk show with host Tim Bremmel. We'll be joining Tim on Friday mornings from 9:15 until 10 o'clock to bring you the news that you can use to be better informed about what goes on in your community. And we'll make sure that there's plenty of opportunity for you to have some input in those sessions too. But that's something new and different, and frankly, it's the result of the feedback we've received over the course of weeks and months from you, as you have continued to ask us to do what we're doing. And we promise to continue to do it to the best of our ability. That brings me to today's final message. This summer, choose engagement. Don't drift into inaction. Don't wait for someone else to lead. Reflect, yes. Reset, yes. And act. Because Janesville has a choice. To delay or to lead. To divide or to build. Let's build. Yes, let's build and do it together. The future of our community will be shaped not by perfect moments, but by bold choices made in imperfect times. As Hillel, the elder, once said, "If not me, who? If not now, when?" Ladies and gentlemen, this is our moment. So step up, volunteer for a board or committee, run for office, speak out. And by the way, support the Housing Summit. And above all, stay engaged. Because as we've always said, it's our obligation as good citizens to be informed, to be involved, and we can all make a difference in this community. Thank you for joining us. Let's keep the conversation rolling. Visit us at rockcountycivicsacademy.org. Follow us on Facebook or Substack, and more importantly, share your ideas. We're here to listen, and we're here to help keep the light on. Thank you, and together let's build the future Janesville and Rock County deserves. Thanks.